everybody. Welcome to Book Club, my Just Gotta Laugh Book Club, Season 2, Episode 1 of Season 2. I'm so excited to get started again. We took a little hiatus over the summer, which I very much needed. And I know that a lot of people appreciated having some time to catch up on the books that we were reading. And so now I just need to do a few announcements at the beginning. Now going forward, here's what's going to happen. We have one book a month, which will give everybody time to read the book before we have our discussion. And I have actually posted them on my Facebook page, GretchenAnthony.writer. And so you can find them all there. So you have the next 9 months all set up. The dates that we're going to be meeting are on there. And next month, you should know that I followed some of your suggestions, and going forward, I've expanded even further the variety and the genres of books that we're going to be reading, because humor falls into so many genres. So here are some of the books here's the next book that we're going to be reading in October. I figured for October it would be great to do sort of like a psychological thriller mystery. And I was thrilled to get Rachel Housel Howell on as our guest. So she will be joining us. She is a witty mystery reader. She's just fantastic. She has a new book that just came out, so you can get it now. And it's called And Now She's Gone. So I'm listening to it on audiobook. I have a very tiny picture of it. But you can find the information on my Facebook page. And of course, I will post it. Again, you'll get an obnoxious number of postings from me as reminders. And again, if you want to join the discussion group, you can join the discussion group, all this good stuff. So first of all, let me just know if you're here, if you're online, if you're joining us. Says that Facebook is having trouble with the video. So let me know if we are actually having trouble. Sometimes Facebook just says that. So I'll wait for some comments to see if people are live.
I see 10 people watching, 11 people.
Oh, Bethany's here. That's terrific. Yay. Hi, Bethany. I will call people out as you shout out to me. Oh, Vicky's here. Yay. Wonderful. And Lori's here, and you can see me and hear me. Thank you. Julie's here. Fantastic. This is going to be so much fun. Okay, and no problems on the video. We are going to be done tonight. I know. Oh, Karen is here. Wonderful. I know it's a big night for political election news, and we will be done. We're going to follow the same schedule that we followed last season, which is we always take the last question at 7:30 so that we're off by 7:35. And if you want to watch the debate, you have plenty of time to change the channel, grab a new glass of wine, whatever you want to do. Okay. Oh, my favorite people from Denver are here. Oh, yay. Our family from Denver is here. Laura, one of my writing group partners, is here. Wonderful, everybody. A lot of you have noticed that I have a special moderator tonight. He's above me. He might be next to you.
I'm to your right, screen. Yeah.
Sophia's here. Great to see everybody. Thank you for joining. Okay, so this is going to be such a fun discussion. As many of you know, I based the physical descriptions for Thomas and Savannah, the twins in the book, on my son, Connor, and one of his best friends, Sarah. Sarah was not able to join us tonight, but Connor is here. Connor, you want to say hello?
Hello.
Connor's going to be moderating. So he has a stack of questions tonight, but we want to make this as interactive as we always have in the past. And so type in your questions. I'll be following them along. And since we're only meeting monthly now, my assumption going forward is going to be that people have read the book before we get to the discussion. If you haven't, that's fine. It's just, I'm just going to give you warnings that there might be spoilers. I will try to remember to give you a spoiler alert before we give away those spoilers, but tonight we're kicking off the season with the kids are going to ask. And again, any questions that you have about this, anything you want to talk about, things you loved, characters you hated, people that drove you crazy, I'd love to hear it all. And not being able to go on book tour, this is the best we get these days. So I'm looking forward to hearing what people have to say. So I am going to throw it to our guest moderator tonight. Renee, Miss Renee.
Hi, Renee.
Okay, guest moderator, kick it off for us with a question, will you?
Okay. So what was your inspiration for the book, and why did you model Thomas and Savannah after Sarah and I?
Well, my inspiration for the book, I've told this many times, was actually quite a bit of panic, because I had written 100 pages of another book, and I was under contract for that book and was behind deadline. So my editor rejected it. She just said, I don't think this is going to work. She tried to work with me on it, and we just agreed eventually it wasn't going to work. So in a panic, I was sitting on the couch, worried, trying to figure out what I was going to write, watching the news one day. And sadly, that's when the Parkland shootings happened at Marjorie Stone Douglas High School. And I watched these kids go become activists about gun rights and go through a phase where immediately they were lauded as victims and then heroes for taking on this debate. And then very quickly after, vilified. There, on one side of the debate, there were people who, were lifting them up as inspiration and so brave. And then on the other side of the debate, there were people who were accusing them of being fakes and how dare they step into this and who's paying them and all that. And it made me realize that if we could beat real children up in our real lives over a topic like gun control, what else would we do that about? And the kids are going to ask became my answer. There's nothing like sex and fraternity and privacy to stir some wheels. So as for you and Sarah, first of all, yes, it is true. So I modeled Thomas and Savannah physically on Connor and one of his closest friends, Sarah. Part of it is because the main part is because as a writer, it helps me immensely to be able to picture my characters. And the more life that picture of them has in my head, the better I can describe them and explain them on the page. And so I often try to find real life inspiration, at least physically, for the characters that I write. I mean, every character is an amalgamation of several people, but you and Sarah just cracked me up because every time you get together, you guys are like yin and yang. Not only are you complete opposites physically, she is like, I always describe her as a Hershey's Kiss in female form. She's tiny. She's like 5 foot tall. She's jet brown hair and jet dark eyes. And she's just all flavor. She's just like, pow, all flavor right there. In fact, I think, don't you call her fun size?
She says, her catchphrase or something she says a lot is, I'm not short, I'm fun sized.
Right. And I've always loved that. Plus, she has such a dynamic personality. She's just so great. And then you are her exact opposite. But you guys, you're 6 feet tall and you have completely filled out just like Thomas did, but you can eat like there's no tomorrow and no consequence. And it was just really fun. So that's why I modeled it after you guys. And I know that personality wise, you're different than the characters. I did not directly translate the personalities of the characters or their stories, from your lives, yours or Sarah's, but it was awfully fun to feel a personal connection to them. And that's why I based them off of you. The other thing is that given that Thomas was producing the podcast, it also helped that you have such interest in sound design and audio engineering.
Yeah.
And that's so I took advantage of it.
Yeah. Miss Renee is asking, actually, who's your favorite character other than Maggie? You can only pick one.
Chef Bart. I want a Chef Bart in my life.
You want somebody to just go, bring me food.
Well, Chef Bart, he's just such a calming presence, and he's good for Maggie because he understands grief and he understands loss deeply, and he's a nurturing presence. And she's an extrovert. She is, in fact, the way I describe her is as a lonely extrovert. Yeah, Renee is saying we all need a Chef Bart. I agree. Oh, hey, I will give a shout out though. Connor made dinner tonight, so
yeah, I made burgers.
Connor stepped up. Who plays Maggie in the movie? Well, Connor, I based an awful lot of Maggie off of Grammy. So who do you think would play Maggie in the movie?
Ooh,
oh, what is her Margot
Robbie?
Yes. No, not Margot.
No, no. I was about to say, wait, hang on a second.
Oh, what's her name? It'll come to me. She's in The Americans as the handler. If anybody watches The Americans.
Margot Martindale?
Yes, Margot Martindale. What do you think of that, Connor?
Yeah, I can
She's
see it.
Funny. Yeah, Margot Martindale. That's who plays Maggie in the movie.
Yeah.
But you guys tell me, who do you think plays Maggie in the movie?
See, my first thought was Robin Williams in his Mrs. Doubtfire costume.
Well, sadly he passed, but
unfortunately.
that would have been fantastic. Okay, so what else is on everybody's minds? Connor, you want to give us a card?
Yeah, so what did you like most about writing the book?
I felt emotionally connected to this book in a way that I have not felt about any other book that I've written. Probably because the kids, when I was writing this, you were 16 and 17. And now you are the age that was the age that Thomas and Savannah were. And that's, I think this book brought out the mother in me an awful lot. And I felt, I cried when I finished the first draft. I actually had like an complete emotional letdown after writing the first draft. That's what I loved. That
connection.
Yeah, the emotional connection. I really, really worked hard on trying to get to the core of what was happening for these characters, because number one, I really didn't want to make light of the searching for family issue and journey. I knew from all the research that I had done and all the friends and all the colleagues and people that I talked to, just how riddled with emotional landmines that process was. And I didn't want to treat it lightly. That was my biggest concern, was that I treat that with the respect that it deserved. But at the same time, I wanted to make these characters as real as possible. And it took me a long time, and actually a lot of conversations with my saint of an editor and a lot of tears. But I think that was the favorite part. I had a definite emotional attachment to these guys. Renee is saying Meryl Streep should play pretty much every role. I'm sure she'd be up for that. Like a one-woman band, a one-woman one-woman show.
See, she'd do that and then go on to win like 4 Oscars for it too.
Oh, I'd be happy to offer that to her then.
Yeah. Okay, so now another question would be, why does Maggie talk to ghosts?
Why does Maggie talk to ghosts? So I
In
guess,
the spirit of October.
yeah, October's coming up. I would like, actually, I want to throw a question out to readers, to book clubbers, and that is, was it clear in the book that that's what she was doing? And I would like to know your impressions of if that's what you took from it, that she was, especially Bess, when she was speaking to Bess, and Bess was speaking back to her. I'm curious how people interpreted that and why they thought she was doing it. My purpose for doing it was because having been in mourning myself when I lost my dad and went through other hardships, and having watched my mom go through that, I knew that that mourning draws something out in us. It draws something, and it draws on a thread that nothing else can or does. And also, like I said before, Maggie, as I describe her, she's really an extrovert. She describes herself as a people gatherer. That's why she brings all these people to dinner. That's why she and George, her husband, always had the original dinner salon. That's why she reinstigated the dinner salon, because she draws her energy from people. And yet she also, she is loyal and deeply connected to only a few people in her life: George, her daughter Bess, and the twins. And she lost half of those people. So she has lost 2 of the people that she loved and felt most connected to her entire life. And so she was lonely. And as a literary device too, it brought Bess into the book. One of the challenges that I had writing about a mom who was already gone by the time the book opened was that how could I introduce her to readers since she was already gone? We could only do so many flashback scenes, and those scenes themselves would be interpreted through whatever character's eyes, whatever character was telling the story. But I do think that when you're in mourning, particularly for someone like Maggie, you do live with their ghosts, because those people were so ever present in your life that when they're gone, their memory isn't just gone. And Maggie felt helpless, I think, in a lot of ways, raising these kids. She loved the kids deeply, but they weren't hers. And she felt awfully responsible for doing everything that she could for them. And so if it took talking to Bess to help her feel better about who they were and what they needed, sure. She was an extrovert who just did stop at the grave. I don't know. I just think it was an emotional tool for her.
Like a coping mechanism.
Yeah. Holly says, I feel like Maggie talking to Bess. I gotta put my glasses on because I told Connor earlier I'm old. I feel like Maggie talking to Bess and George was completely natural and relatable. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm glad. Yeah, I think we all kind of do that to a certain extent too. It's why we revisit memories in our head too, or we replay scenes in our head, even if it's something as small as, you get out of a conversation and you come up with a perfect line 20 minutes later or 2 days later that you should have said to somebody, those are a form of ghosts in our head, I think. So I felt emotionally connected to Oh, Holly, you agree. Oh, yay. Thank you. Oh, Bethany agrees. Yeah. I felt connected to Maggie too. It was the mother. It was the mother in me. So that's how it is. Okay, so what other questions do you guys have? What did you like about the book? I'm going to call out Julie, because Julie happened to text me the other day and said she was so mad at Eaton Holmes. So raise your hand if you were also mad at Eaton Holmes.
Miss Renee
and
says,
whether you felt like she got her comeuppance. Okay, go ahead, Connor.
Miss Renee also says, any favorite scenes / episodes from the book, open to anyone. I'll say mine was what I call the fiber episode.
The FOD maps. I will tell you, researching I knew there was, just from basic dietary science, that there were certain foods that would affect you that way. But I actually had to go in depth on a lot of it to figure out how Maggie could pull this off. And I need to get better at using my Google incognito window when I do internet searches, because you should have seen what was coming up on my advertising from Google after researching all of that. It was very similar to after researching the dinner scene for the Baumgartners when, Ed talks about laxatives. It was just like Google just exploded with dietary advice for a while. But I'm glad you liked the fiber. The fiber scene. Oh, Miss Beth is saying from Colorado is saying she enjoys hearing and seeing you.
Thank you.
So I'm glad that you enjoyed the fiber scene. That was also a very fun scene to write. It had a lot of onomatopoeia in it, like verbal expressions that you have to figure out how to actually spell. That was a fun exercise as well. So Julie, I want to throw out, did Eaton Holmes get the payback you think she deserved? I'm so curious to hear. Yeah. So other favorite scenes or other favorite characters. What was everybody? I want to hear what people's favorite characters were too. Besides your favorite scenes, I want to hear or the characters that drove you crazy. I was in a book club last week having a discussion, and somebody said the funniest thing. She said, you write these books that I love the characters, and then there's always one that I just want to strangle. I just can't stand them. And I took that as a compliment. So anyway, just don't say that you didn't like Thomas, right, Connor?
I mean,
okay, while we're waiting for that, while we're waiting for that, you want to throw another question out?
See, the last question here. How did you talk me into doing this again?
Because you're such a good son. Because I enjoy your company and people love seeing your beautiful face.
Sasha.
Read the question from your cousin Sasha.
So Sasha wants to know, Chad is going too fast. Sasha wants to know, when did you first realize you wanted to be a writer?
Oh, that's a good question, Sasha. Right about your age. Yeah, I first started writing my first stories when I was about your age, when I was really, really young. And I can tell you, my first story was about an old lady who lived in a nursing home and hated peas. And she was mad because that's all they served in the nursing home was peas. I do remember that. And no matter whether, I will also say this, Sasha, no matter if you want to be a writer or you want to be an engineer, learning how to write well helps you in any career you go into. Any career career. Okay, Julie answered on the Eaton Holmes question. Thank you for that, Sasha. I loved that question. Eaton. So as a refresher, or for anybody who hasn't read the book, Eaton Holmes is she's a provocateur blogger who is the one who sabotages Thomas and Savannah on the talk show, where she calls out, she calls out the dad's name. She calls out, a bunch of conspiracies. And Julie happened to text me right after she read that scene and said, I hope she gets her comeuppance. But no, you wanted her to get more payback. Maybe I ought to write a book called Eaton Gets Payback. Maybe. I will take that into consideration.
It'll be the spin-off.
Is it really a thing for kids to use? Yeah. Is it really a thing for kids to use typewriters these days? So Connor, is it really
honestly,
a thing?
Honestly, if I could write all of my English and econ papers with a typewriter, I totally would. I don't know. It's just,
what's the draw?
It's the same reason I think it's the same reason I like mechanical keyboards, and that it's really satisfying that you have that. Excuse me. It's really satisfying. It's like the tactile feedback of doing it. If a typewriter had a backspace button, then heck yeah, I'd be writing all my papers on a typewriter.
It is that. It is. It's satisfactory feedback. I'll grant you that. And Karen, everything is old. Everything that's old is new again. I mean, it's just so funny. Everything comes around, I think. But yeah, typewriters are hot again. They are hot. In fact, I just saw an Instagram post today where somebody was advertising typewriters in their antique shop. Renee, she's trying to think of the friend, the teenager. What was her name? She cracked you up. Nadine. I think you're talking about Nadine, if she's the one who figured out the Twitter mystery and she's Chef Bart's daughter. She hangs out at the house. Or you may be talking about Savannah's friend, Trig, who does all the texting. Those are the two other teenagers in the book. Laura's saying Trig. Okay. We love seeing your face. Connor needs to make another JTL appearance. Are you up for that, Connor?
Sure. I guess we'll see if I'm not working and I don't have any schoolwork to do, then yeah.
We'll have to get him on season 2 because Connor flies off to college next year. Trig. Okay, so it was Trig. Oh, it was really fun. If you listen to the audiobook, it made me laugh because Trig, speaks primarily in emojis in her texts. And it was really funny. I'm trying to find one right now because I can read it to you. Listening to the audiobook editor. Oh, here's a short one. Listening to the audiobook narrator, who I loved. Her name is Lauren Fortgang. I hope I can get her again. Listening to her read Trig's texts were so funny. So here's one of them. Trig, okay, you just need to settle down. Yoga pose emoji. Trig, some people actually think it's cool. You have powers. Angel emoji, praying hands emoji. Trig, Taylor Parks lost her grandma a few months ago, and she says she's going to visualize her every night before she goes to sleep until she shows up. Savannah, oh my God, I don't see dead people. That was really, really fun to write. That was actually fun to write too, because it got to channel my inner teenage girl.
I know people who write stuff like that too, and I'll get texts from them, and it's like sitting down to do a crossword puzzle to figure out what they're trying to say. My friend Abby does that, and I have to sit down for a solid 30 seconds with every text she sends me, what are you trying to tell me?
So Connor, did I get it right where they put, because we nerdy grown-up adults who actually spell check our texts and use punctuation because we're nerdy like that, we put them all at the end for the most part. But I think think in retrospect, I got it wrong, because I think to be more authentic, I would have put the emojis in the midst of the sentences. Is that right?
So a lot of it kind of depends on what you're talking about, because if it's texting, then it would be a lot of like, it would be like short sentence emoji and then another message of short sentence emoji, short sentence emoji. But if you're talking something like Instagram, excuse me, then it would be bit of text emoji, bit of text emoji, bit of text, 4 emojis, and then like 7 hashtags. Like I
do that if you had a typewriter.
Well, there's a reason I skip over all of them.
Okay, everybody, it is 7:30. I'm gonna honor my promise tonight and make a call for last questions. Last call. Bethany says, I'm glad I'm not a teenager. Suspect I wouldn't be good at it. Bethany, I disagree. I think you'd be fantastic at it. As she sends all those emojis. Okay, Connor, do you have any last questions while people are thinking about their final call?
Yeah, if this book winds up making millions, right? Could you, could I get a car?
Could you get a car? So the question was, if this book ends up making millions, will you buy me a car?
Just a little. We'll think of it as a royalty payment. Yeah, all right.
I suppose you've earned it. If Thomas hits it big, I will buy you a car, my love. You gotta get a driver's license first.
I know.
Okay. Do we have time for one more question? What are you working on now? Oh, Laura, it's such a good question. Okay, I do have news. I do have good news. So I sold an audio-only book to Audible as an Audible original, and it's called Mia Blue. No, it's called Meditations with Mia Blue. And it's about a celebrity influencer whose life is not nearly as perfect as she would like you to believe. So editor at Audible, and I have gone through the final editing stages. It is now going into production, and they're hoping, she's telling me they're thinking late fall or maybe January. They're actually kind of shooting for January because it's got like a new year, new you kind of theme with the meditations and wellness celebrity guru that Mia is. So I will send notices out when that goes live. But again, it's only on Audible, so you kind of have to, but you can buy it. If you just want to buy it individually, you can do that too. It'll be an Audible original. So that one's really fun. And then the other thing that I'm working on is my editor and I are pitching my agent and I are pitching something to my editor that I won't say much about yet because it hasn't hit it big. And then personally, I'm working on a series. I've always thought it would be fun to write, kind of fun to write a series. So I'm working on that in the background. Just wine tonight. What is Maggie's beverage? Maggie loves the sour plum Manhattan. That is actually a real recipe that I gratefully stole from Michael Bowe, my friend Michael Bowe. They are fantastic. That is Maggie's favorite drink. And then the drink they have at the launch party is called The Truth Hurts because it's got a rim of habanero oil and cinnamon schnapps in it. Bethany says, careful, Gretchen. I think that might be about the car.
I think that is about the car.
And again, we don't know when Meditations with Mia Blue will be available, but I will let you know. They're shooting for like late fall or January. My hunch is January timeframe. So that's what we got for now. Okay. Well, this has been a blast. Any final things to say, Connor?
I got nothing.
Well, thank you, love, for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Good fun.
As you can all see, Connor is actually in his room, and you're only seeing the studio setup that he has from one angle. But if he were to turn it around, and don't try and turn it around, Connor, you would see that his entire bedroom is a studio. He actually has an audio sound studio in his bedroom. It's quite impressive. Yeah. And so we are in the process of finding audio and sound engineering colleges for Connor to go to next year. But you can thank Connor for all of the questions about how to produce a podcast in this book, because I asked him, how many questions do you think I asked you about it, Connor?
At least 40.
So many that I started getting "Mom" as the response.
See, and I don't really do that all that much either. Like,
oh, you don't. You don't. You have a pretty high threshold, but I met it on this book. So Renee says she's so glad that JGL is back. So am I. I am so thrilled to be back and have everybody. Okay, a reminder, next month, And Now She's Gone by Rachel Howell Hall. Again, a bit of a mystery suspense book for October. Great way to enter our spooky month. October 20th, I think, is the date, but I will put all that information up. And Rachel, the author, will be joining us live for the next book club. So she will be here. Bring all your questions, bring all your comments. She will be here to talk them through with us. All right, everybody. One last cheers before we go. My heart. Cheers, Connor. Cheers, Connor. Ding, ching, ching. There we go. My heart goes out to all of you, and my gratitude for joining me and for reading the book. It means an awful lot. Keep coming back. Feel free to shoot me questions in the meantime, and we'll see you all next month. Ciao.